Hello, welcome to AAUW Connections. AAUW Connections is a program produced by members of the Los Altos Mountain View branch of the American Association of University Women to focus on current community issues. Tonight's topic will be the library, an investment in the future, the library tax, an investment in the future. During the course of the program, we'll be talking to our guests Elayne Dauber and Carol Teft, and we'll be having a film to take a tour of the library, the Los Altos Main Library. I'm John Reed, a Los Altos resident, and I'm a member of the Los Altos Mountain View branch of AAUW. Our first guest is Elayne Dauber. She's a member of the Library Commission. Elayne, how about filling us in on the tax, how it came about, why we need it, why we should vote for it as taxpayers?
Well, John, I don't know if you remember what the library was like 5 years ago before we passed the first parcel tax. We had so little money for staff that we could afford to keep the building open only 43 hours a week. That meant that it was closed on Friday and closed on Sunday and open only 3 mornings and 3 evenings a week. The book budget was so small that the librarians could purchase only about fewer than half the number of books they felt that we should have, and morale was at an all-time low because the staff was both overworked and had to hear complaints continuously from the patrons who were unhappy. But passing the parcel tax 5 years ago made a tremendous difference. The voters overwhelmingly passed a tax that would allow us to levy up to $36 a parcel in town. And a commission called the North County Library Commission was set up to set the tax each year. They've been very conservative, and in fact, the average parcel tax has been only $25 a year. But that $25 has done wonders for the library. We're now open 64 hours a week, which is as much as we would hope to, and we've more than doubled the book budget. We can buy now as many books as the building can hold. Circulation is up, programs are up, and we feel the library is about as good as it can be in its present building. But we're on the 5th year, and although the financial situation has improved in the county library, if we were to lose our parcel tax now, we would have to go back to 50 hours a week. And I don't think the residents of Los Altos care to do this, and neither does the Library Commission. And so what we would like to do is go back to the voters and not only ask them to renew the current parcel tax, but we want to solve one other major problem, and that is space. We're asking for a maximum of a $52 tax, which is only $16 more than what we've had these 5 years, and to go for 20 years so that we can borrow money. We've done a pretty thorough study of the space needs. We've talked to architects and we've talked to builders, and we feel that for just $52 a parcel, we can solve all our space problems and our staff and book problems for the next 20 to 30 years.
Elayne, you did mention the North County Library Authority. What is that? It sounds kind of mysterious. Could you quickly say what that is?
This is a joint commission between Los Altos and Los Altos Hills. 2 members are appointed by Los Altos, 2 members by Los Altos Hills, and 1 member is appointed by the Library Commission. And the purpose of this commission is to support the library.
Good. Carol Teft, Elayne did mention that there was a space shortage in the libraries, and I thought that you as the community librarian, the head librarian of the Los Altos Library, could perhaps shed some light on that.
Yeah, the best way I can describe our space problem is it's desperate. We have one of the busiest libraries in the county with one of the highest circulations in the county, and yet we have one of the very smallest buildings. Our square footage is about 14,000 square feet at the main library, and yet we're circulating from there an average of 40 books per square foot. The average in all the other county libraries is 20 books per square feet. So you can see we're doing a big circulation out of a very small building. What we would hope with the addition would be to solve a lot of these space problems. Some of the biggest problems are very crowded bookshelves that are up 7 feet high. We would expect to solve our circulation desk is sitting smack in the middle of the adult room and causing lots of noise problems. We would expect to, we project to have a children's program room. We sometimes have over 200 children for our programs crammed into a very small space.
Well, thank you, Carol. Now it's time to go on a film tour of the Los Altos Main Library, which will be led by Carol, actually, on the film.
Okay, this is the front entryway of the library, and as you can see, we have security gates here, which when the library was built 30 years ago, nobody even thought of security gates, so we've had to just jam them into the front. And so it's not a very spacious or open entryway to be coming into. And then as you come in, and like if you're headed toward the children's room this way, you can see that the hallway is very small and not a lot of room. And you can see that we have storage in the hallway because we've run out of storage space. Other places we've run out of storage space, go ahead. Other spaces where we've run out of storage, we have stored, for example, this is the staff room, which is for lunch breaks, and we've had to store janitorial supplies here, and it's a very grim place to be taking a lunch break. So it gives an idea of the space problems that we have. And then as you walk down toward the children's room, again, there's storage here, and we can only open one section of the doors because we're storing puppet stages here. And then this is the children's room. As you walk in, you see the stacks here. These are all the books. And we're walking into the area here. There's some people, as you can see, playing with the puppet stage here. Excuse us. Pardon me. This is the children's room where we have our children's programs, and we just had a program about a half an hour ago, and as you can see, we don't have a separate children's room which for programming, which would normally be the case. So we just have to have it right out in the regular children's area. And that means that when we're doing that, there isn't any room for people to get around and look at the books or to study, so it shuts down the children's room when we have our programs here. And then back this way is the reference area. And again, you can see the reference area is just jammed with paperbacks jammed up against it, and here's a puppet stage and a young one doing a puppet show. And so anyone who wants to get back here to the children's reference books has problems getting back there. So again, tight spaces. This area is the circulation workroom. And as you can see, there's very little room for anybody to work. When we have books here, they're in the aisles and you can't get by. I think we can go back this way toward my office. There are usually 2 to 3 people assigned to each desk. This is my office. And as you can see, it's the only area that we have for training. And right now we have 2 people training on the computer. We don't have any other space to make that available. And there's a conference table here, and it's the only table that we have to have meetings or have conferences. So my office is used for that sort of thing. I just have to vacate. Okay? And then, pardon me, we call this the Pardon Me Library because every time you move around you have to excuse yourself from somebody. All right, and then right through here, this is where the books are sorted. And as you can see, it's, excuse me, it's a tight area also where you can have 2 or 3 people trying to work to sort the books. We have easily 2,000 books a day coming in that we have to sort and get back onto the shelves. This is the circulation area, and you can see we oftentimes have lines of people waiting to check out their books. Over here is the video section, a very popular section. And then back this way are the catalogs, and we're just about ready to get, within about another year at the most, we will have a new online catalog, and as you can see, we just have no room for the terminals, and we're very concerned about where we're going to put all the new technology. Again, when this building was built 30 years ago, there were no computers in libraries, so it's trying to provide for all this new technology has been a challenge for us. Then back this way is the reference area. Again, lots of new technology has meant that the reference desk is very crowded. And you can see we have microfilm readers and printers, which, again, new technology that makes it difficult for us to find places to stick everything. Chairs and tables are in aisleways instead of in, alcoves like they ought to be. Back here is the stack area, and we have had to utilize the full 7 feet of book stacks in order to totally utilize the space that we have. And I'm tall, so I can reach up here, but I can't see those books. So whenever you want to get up to the top shelf, people have to stand up on these stools, and then they can see what's up here. So it's difficult to use these 7-foot shelves. Excuse me. Okay, and then back this way. This is our... These are tables and chairs, and as you can see, this is an aisleway going back to the back of the library, and the tables and chairs are right in the aisleway, which is not a very good way to do things, but again, it's the best we can do. Excuse us. The quiet section is actually not a separate room, but is right in the middle of the magazines, and the mysteries are on this side, so again, it's crowded, and not terribly quiet at certain times, although we try to keep it that way. And I'd like to take you back to a reference area back here. This is the reference workroom back here. Excuse me. Get through there okay? Okay. Oops. Okay. This is back here is the reference workroom. And and you can see that it's very crowded, and the reference librarians, when they're working here, oftentimes have trucks of books that they're working with and trying to process things and replace books and so on. It becomes quite a problem. We don't have much aisle space. Can you get through? And again, the technology, the computers that we have back here are jammed into a corner. Back this way now. And then again, you can see through here, that's the young adult section, and it's very crowded. Oops. Let's go that way. Okay, and then over here is, we only have a small area for our public computers. We would, of course, like to have a much larger area for public computers. And then back here is our back entryway. And the back entryway, we've had to jam our 2 Xerox machines into the back entry, and our transportation information is all back here, and again another security gate. So as you can see, it's not a very spacious entryway. So this kind of points out the problems that we are having with the building and the problems that we're having with technology, not having the space or the wiring or anything else for the new technologies that we're bringing in. So hopefully it gives you an idea of what we're facing.
Hello again. I'm John Reed of AAUW Connections, and we've just returned from a film library tour conducted by Carol Teft, one of our guests this evening, along with Elayne Dauber. I'd like you to talk for a minute, if you could, Elayne, and maybe Carol too, about the politics of this measure. How do what's the name of the measure? When do we vote for it? And how optimistic are you that it will pass?
Well, this will be Proposition F on the ballot, November 5th. Is that the right date? We're actually very optimistic that it's going to pass. First of all, because this is a general tax to fund the North County Library Association, we only need a simple majority, whereas last time we needed a 2/3 majority to pass the tax. But besides that, I don't think there's any tax dollars that we spend that benefits us more than the library and benefits more segments of the community or more ages. And our community in particular is a phenomenal library user. We're extremely literate community, and our library is used a huge amount.
Yes, we circulate 17 books per person each year in Los Altos, and compared to the state average, which is 5 books per person, you can see that our community well uses the library, and I think really values it.
Very good. For the next few minutes, we'll be listening in as Pat Johnson interviews several patrons of the library.
This is Pat Johnson. We're in the Los Altos Main Library on a busy Tuesday afternoon, and we're about to interview Shirley Climo, a well-known and very successful children's author. Shirley, you use the library for a very particular purpose.
It's sort of a second home at this point. I don't think any writer can get anything on paper without being a reader first, and this is where I come for the majority of all my reading.
And you do a wide range of books here. You have fiction and nonfiction.
All of them begin with facts, and the facts begin on the library shelves. Even the fiction has a factual basis. So before I even take out a pen or go to the word processor, I've taken out 20 books to read at home from the library.
You were saying even the illustrator had to do some research and had to have access to your research.
Even in something like Egyptian Cinderella, which is strictly fiction, there really were pharaohs and princesses 2,000 years ago, and the clothing, the furniture, all the background has to be fairly authentic, and the artist does homework too.
Oh, thank you so much for coming and sharing all your experiences with us. We've enjoyed having you. Our next interview is with Dr. Marge Grashut, who is superintendent of Los Altos Elementary Schools. And you have very definite expectations for our libraries.
Yes, we certainly do. We have, our children are mostly going to college. About 95% of them go to college. They go on to very academic high schools, and we expect all of them to be able to use their public libraries for major research reports and a variety of other kinds of topics. So we we build in use of the public library and skill in doing that in all of our grades, starting in kindergarten and going all the way through 8th grade.
How do you feel that Los Altos fulfills these expectations?
I think Los Altos makes an effort to fulfill these expectations very well. The librarians are very helpful. The children enjoy coming to the library. The materials are here for the most part that they need. The only complaint we hear sometimes is that there aren't enough materials for the need and there isn't enough space for the students really to come, and sometimes they have group projects to work together here in the library. Parents sometimes complain that when they bring their children to the library it's too crowded or they can't find a space for their children to work.
Well, we hope that this next override will take care of all these problems for us.
I hope so too.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Our next person is Gail Morrison. Gail, why do you come to the library?
I spend quite a bit of time in the investment section, reading up on the current periodicals about stocks and bonds, and trying to educate myself on how to invest my money a little bit better.
You also do some tax advising for the seniors, is that right?
Yeah, that's one of my volunteer projects, which keeps me busy, especially in the spring and January and through April.
So you need to be current on all the changes.
I try to keep up to date on everything that goes on in that area for the people, not for the corporations.
Is the tax section of the library a busy place?
Yes, it is a very, very busy place. It's sometimes hard to find a place to sit down because there are too many other people doing the same thing.
So with the new override, we hope to have more room for all of you.
Hopefully. This is a busy place, I tell you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
This is Ann Baker, who is currently president of the Los Altos Elementary School Board. Tell us how you feel about our library.
Well, particularly from the school board's position, we are very supportive of the libraries, have been very supportive of this library tax coming up, and as a community member as well, I feel like it's one of those areas that draws us together as a community because the library is a central part of that.
The library is very active in your schools.
Yes, the school district has had a need to be involved with the libraries because we have not had as full a library program in the past years, and the Los Altos Library has come to our schools to be very supportive of our programs that we've had.
So our librarians have come with books and with stories and supplemented.
Yes, they certainly have supplemented, and we still have that close feeling with the libraries and with the librarians in the Los Altos Public Library.
All right. And we hope to continue it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is Marge Bruno, a member of our City Council. Marge, I understand you enjoy books while driving a car.
Oh, yes. We very much enjoyed the Talking Books collection here at the library. My husband and I travel to Los Angeles about every 4 or 5 weeks to visit our grandson, and we always take some talking books along with us because it makes the trip go very, very quickly. A 6-hour trip just seems to be finished in a wink, and we find ourselves oftentimes with 2 books is usually enough because they run about 6 or 7 hours each, and often when we get back we have a little left of a book, and so then we just sit in our bedroom and listen to our tapes because we're very anxious to see how it comes out, and we have an outstanding collection here.
That's great. What kind of things do you listen to?
Well, for our trips, we tend to get either adventure or mystery, spy fiction, although we will, from time to time, get a comedy or a comedy of manners. That's especially so if I get to choose the books rather than Mike. But there are also a number of nonfiction books. We haven't tried them as often. We mostly stick with the fiction, but there's an enormous selection.
Great. Thank you so much.
Welcome back from the library again. I might mention in passing that Pat Johnson, who narrated the interviews with the library patrons, is also a library commissioner. While we were watching Pat, I was chiding Elayne Dauber, who always seems to be early in her scheduling. She's got us going out to the polls on November 5th, when actually it's Tuesday, November 6th. So I hope you'll note that change on your schedules if you've already marked your calendars. Well, here we have Measure F. It's ironic that in 1985, when the first parcel tax override was passed to provide funds to keep the libraries open, the demand, because the services were cut back at that time prior to the tax, the demand for the library had dropped, and it's ironic that since then the demand has skyrocketed to the point where today we now need to expand the library to keep pace with this burgeoning demand. So it's really important, if you're concerned about the future of a vital community asset like the library, it's very important that you get out and vote for Measure F on November 6th, and also support it in any way that you can. Thank you very much for viewing us this evening. Thanks to our guests, Elayne Dauber and Carol Teft. And from AAUW Connections, I'm John Reed saying thank you and good night.